Dear shorthand writers, this is English shorthand dictation number 73 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. The house knows that there are many absentees here and many members who have a right to come here have not come. We regret that fact because we should have liked to associate with ourselves as many people, as many representatives from the different parts of India, and as many groups as possible. We have undertaken a tremendous task and we seek the cooperation of all people in that task. The future of India that we have envisaged is not confined to any group or section or province or other, but it comprises all the people of India, and it is with deep regret that we find some benches empty and some colleagues absent. I do hope that they will come and that this House in its future stages will have the benefit of the cooperation of all. Meanwhile, there is a duty cast upon us, and that is to bear the absentees in mind, to remember always that we are here not to function for one party or one group, but always to think of India as a whole and always to think of the welfare of the people of India. We are all belonging to this or that group, and presumably we shall continue to act in our respective parties. Nevertheless, the time comes when we have to rise above party and think of the nation, think sometimes of even the world at large, of which our nation is a great part. When I think of the work of this Constituent Assembly, it seems to me that the time has come when we should rise above our ordinary selves and party disputes and think of the great problems before us in the widest and most tolerant and most effective manner, so that whatever we may produce should be worthy of India as a whole and should be such that the world should recognize that we have functioned exactly as we should have functioned in this high adventure. There is another person who is absent here and who must be in the minds of many of us today. The great leader of our people, the father of our nation, who has been the architect of this assembly and all that has gone before it, and possibly of much that will follow. He is not here because in pursuit of his ideals he is ceaselessly working in a far corner of India, but I have no doubt that his spirit hovers over this place and blesses our undertaking. As I stand here, I feel the weight of all manner of things crowding around me. We are at the end of an era, and possibly very soon we shall embark upon a new age. My mind goes back to the great past of India, to the 5,000 years of India's history, from the very dawn of that history, which may be considered almost the dawn of human history, till today. All that past crowds around me and exhilarates me, and at the same time somewhat oppresses me. Am I worthy of that past? When I think also of the future, standing on this sword's edge of the present between this mighty past and the mightier future, I tremble a little and feel overwhelmed by this mighty task. We have come here at a strange moment in India's history. I do not know, but I do feel that there is some magic in this moment of transition from the old to the new, something of that magic which one sees when the night turns into day, and even though the day may be a cloudy one, when the clouds move away, we can see the sun later on. Because of all this, I find a little difficulty in addressing this house and putting all my ideas before it. And I feel that in this long succession of thousands of years, I see the mighty figures that have come and gone, and I see also the long succession of our comrades who have labored for the freedom of India. Now we stand on the verge of this passing age, trying to usher in the new. I am sure the House will feel the solemnity of this movement and will endeavor to treat this resolution which I have placed before it in that solemn manner. I believe there are a large number of amendments coming before the House. I have not seen most of them. It is open to the House, to any member of this House, to move any amendment, and it is for the House to accept it or reject it. But I would, with all respect, suggest that this is not the moment for us to be technical and legal about some matters when we have big things to face, big things to say, and big things to do. And therefore, I would hope that the House would consider this resolution in this big manner and not lose itself in wordy quarrels and squabbles. I think also of the various constituent assemblies that have gone before and of what took place at the making of the great American nation when the fathers of that nation met and fashioned out a constitution which has stood the test of so many years, more than a century and a half, and of the great nation which has resulted, which has been built up on the basis of that constitution. My mind goes back to that mighty revolution which took place over 150 years ago, and to that constituent assembly that met in that gracious and lovely city of Paris, which has fought so many battles for freedom, to the difficulties that constituent assembly had, and to how the king and other authorities came in its way, and still it continued. The House will remember that when these difficulties came and even the room for a meeting was denied to the then constituent assembly, they met in an open tennis court and took the oath, which is called the oath of the tennis court. They continued meeting in spite of kings, in spite of the others, and did not disperse till they had finished the task they had undertaken. I trust that it is in that solemn spirit that we too are meeting here, and whether we meet in this chamber or other chambers, or in the fields or in the marketplace, we will go on meeting and continue our work till we have finished it. Then my mind goes back to a more recent revolution which gave rise to a new type of state, the revolution that took place in Russia, and out of which has arisen the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, another mighty country which is playing a tremendous part in the world. It is not only a mighty country, but for us in India, a neighboring country also. So our mind goes back to these great examples, and we seek to learn from their success and to avoid their failures. Perhaps we may not be able to avoid failures because some measure of failure is inherent in human effort. Nevertheless, we shall advance in spite of obstructions and difficulties and achieve and realize the dream that we have dreamt so long.